Hello and welcome to Steam Powered PD. My name is Kern Kelly, and we're going to be talking about using Google Slides as a website. Google Slides is for a slideshow. It's very much a pretty straightforward way to create a website because you can publish it and by making it public, you can share that with the world. And so these are the steps. Those of you in RSU19 that are K through 4 grade teachers, you have probably already received an email with a shared document, which is the template we're using. If you don't have that, you can still go to Google Drive and just create a new blank slideshow and use it the same way. So step number one, I'm on google.com. I'm going to click on the little grid up in the upper right-hand corner and go to Drive. Now I have Drive up right here. In our case, if you go to Shared with Me over on the left side right here, if you don't, you can search for it, but you'll see some of these slideshows. And one of them will be called your SEB or SOM, depending on which school you're at, or EDS, and then your name. And that will be the template. It'll look something like this. Okay, so we go through some of the features you can to move it around, to adjust it, to fit it to what you want. The first thing is we're going to name it. So up here in the upper left, if I title it, and in my case, I already have Mr. Kelly, but I can change this. This one was put in wrong, Mrs. Kelly, so I'm going to change that. That's my mom. Let's change it to Mr. Kelly's site. Now, when I click in the text box here, you'll notice that it changes to the cursor changes to like an I bar, versus when I'm right on the edge and it changes to crosshairs. That's really important because when I'm in crosshairs mode here, I can move it around. I can move this text box around different than when I'm inside it itself. Now, when I'm inside the box itself, this way I can type. I can also highlight here. If I want to affect the letters and the words inside the box, I can make it bold. I can make it italicized. I can center it across up here in the toolbar. If I click here, we'll center it like this. I can change the color. Let's see, I like green. That looks cool. I also can change the font. So if I click on these, that's a cool font right there. So if I like that a little better, I'm going to click away from it now, and you'll see that's what it's going to look like. And again, I can change that at any time. That won't affect anything around it. The big thing to note is if I want to delete it, if I click inside of the box with the I bar here, and if I push delete or backspace, it's just going to delete the word or letters itself. Versus if I'm on the edge here and click on that, then if I hit delete, it will do the entire thing. Let me undo that, bring it back. Also, these boxes here on the edge, you'll notice the cursor will change. So that will allow me to resize it if I want. This one on the top is a little ball up in the top, and my cursor will change to these crosshairs like that. And then if I wanted to tilt it, I would be able to do so. I think that looks pretty good right there. Over in the right here, I have the date. So the same thing, if I wanted to change it, I could come in here. Let's put the 31st and so forth. So we purposely made a template for you with some of these links here, which you can delete. If I don't want to change this right now, I have this replacing with text. But if I want to delete that totally, I would just click on it once, push delete, and it's gone. I can put whatever I want in there. If ever I need to undo, I can just click this little arrow up here on the left, and we'll see there it is. Now, you'll also notice as I'm clicking on things across the top here, this toolbar will change. That will adjust based on what you're clicking on. So right now, this is tools for the text box. So again, if I highlight some of the text inside of here, I can change the font. I can change the background color if I want to. Let's say I want a nice light blue here for the text. Cool, and the border if I want. Maybe make it a little thicker. All these things you can adjust as you want, or delete it totally if you want. All right, so that's our text boxes, and those are super handy. Again, that's probably the most common thing that we'll use. You'll also notice that some of these features right here, you can't click on from here. Text box I can, but some of these things we've added as in the template. I'm going to show you how to remove those. The reason why we did it this way is if you look at this entire slide, and if I want to duplicate the slide to have another slide for parents to view, I can go to Slide, Duplicate. And now I have the same one twice. And even if I change some of the things inside of it, so it's a totally different slide, and I remove some things, and I can, add something new in here. I'll just add a nice smiley face shape, just so we can distinguish between the two slides. Those will stay. These here will stay. I will show you how to remove those if you want, but then for right now in the template, that's what they are. So this was a text box. We have another text box right below here, and it's the same idea, just some words. And this one, it's a link. So we're going to kind of show you how links work. If I have something else, let's say I have another website I want to go to. So I'll just use our website, rsu19.org. Copy that link. So now if I want those words to go to that. Now let me just delete this entire text box and I'll show you how this works. Step number one, I'm going to click on that T with a box around it like this, and I can highlight it like this, and I can say link to the district website. So if I highlight the text now and click this little link up in the upper right hand corner here, it looks like a little chain link. Now I can paste that address in there. And now you'll notice it turns. Now it turns like a little bit weird light blue here because I've already been to that site before. First time will be a darker blue. So that text right there, I can leave it. It's a clickable link for parents. If I wanted to center it again, I would click on this little icon up here, center it, and maybe I want to center it vertically as well. And that's what these three, this is top, center, and bottom. So you can center it there. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Let's make it 24 so that people can read it. Now, one thing to note here is when parents view this slideshow as a website, you don't want to put things in the very bottom right-hand corner. Because if I put it down here, you'll notice when I hit present, I'm going to move my video here. You'll see how this little gray box pops up in the lower right left-hand corner. And these are to go from one slide to the next. So you definitely want parents to be able to access that. But if you have things that are kind of in the way there, it'll be hard for them to determine. So one of the reasons why we did not put things in the lower left-hand corner, and you can put it kind of, close, but not exactly in the left-hand corner. That way it leaves a little box there for them to get to. The other thing you want to notice is you probably don't want to get too busy. And the reason why is you'd have multiple pages and they can click through easily from one page to the next. But the reason why too is they might be viewing this on a mobile device or a tablet or something not, maybe vertical view versus horizontal. So these are factors you want to think about as far as how much stuff you have in here. So this is our text boxes. This is a link, and we had the one that came in the template was to a Google form. We did do a video on Google Forms if you want to watch that one to kind of show you what kind of questions you may ask your students and have them fill out. Over here, just an empty box, just to show you could put an image or a video. So if I wanted to put an image in here, I'm going to move this text box a little bit down here. I'm going to delete that one just to show you here. All right, so I want to put an image in here. I'm going to click Insert, Image. I could upload it from the computer directly. Oops, if I could hold on there. I could search the web. I could send it from my Google Drive or my Google Photos, or I could take a picture right here. So if I want to do a daily picture to say, hey guys, how's it going? I could take a picture right here and it would be on the page. I could also go for my Google Photos. We've talked about Google Photos in a previous episode. If I click on that, someone see some of my photos over here. These are some of my photos. Find a good one of the school. I know there's some really good school. That's the old Nokomis here. Let's see the new school here. Oop, I like that one, Nokomis from the Warriors. All right, let's add that one right in there. So if I wanted this one now, I can see right here, see how it's a little bit tilted? So one thing you can do with images, if I double click, you see these black bars will appear, and I can move those to kind of crop around the image itself. Now these are straight crops. That means they are vertical or horizontal. I'm gonna hit enter. You'll see it crops around. But I can also do other types of crops. Now I click on it once, and these toolbar, it changes again. Like I mentioned earlier, if I click on it, it will change based on what I'm clicking on. Not this crop icon and not the one to the right, but that little triangle between those two. This is kind of what I like to call the cookie cutter tool. And the idea here is that it takes the shape and it cuts it into that. So if I wanted a heart shape, it would cut out a heart shape. Or if I wanted a lightning bolt shape, I can cut a lightning bolt shape. In my case, we're going to click on this and we'll just do like a rounded edges shape. That looks pretty cool. I like that. Additionally here, it's kind of floating there. I click on this. If I wanted that to have a border to it, I'm going to click the little three lines up here. We're going to add a nice border. Let's do a nice red burgundy border here to match. That looks really nice. And then finally, if I want to give it even a little bit more 3 dimensions, so it looks like it's kind of floating on the page. Once I've clicked on it once, I can go to Format Options. And here's all kinds of different stuff. Position, if I can move it. Recoloring, if I have an image that I want to recolor. I could have it like yellow or black and white. Grayscale, all kinds of negative, all kinds of different stuff. We're not going to recolor this one. Drop shadow. So I am going to add a drop shadow to this one. I'm going to make it not transparent so I can see it. We'll get a little bit further out. And let's change the angle so that let's make it even a little bit darker here. Okay, so it kind of looks like it's floating above the page here. So I changed my transparency down so you can see it. I made the distance a little bit further, blur radius, and you can play with those to see what you think. You can even change the color of the shadow if you wanted to. If I wanted to have like a yellowish tint to it, I don't think I will. We'll keep it dark gray. That looks really good. So just a few little tips like that really sharpens it up, doesn't it? One of the things that's kind of cool is if I go add a new image to this one, let's say I want to go add another image. So I'm going to go to up here, and this time I'm going to search the web. So I want to search the web. I'm going to search for let's see here, school. There's an icon here. One cool thing about these image searches is are these all copyright free. So that's purposely why it's not quite as many choices as you would have. But let me insert this school right here. Oh, there's my icon. Now you notice here it came with, let me move this out of the way. It came with this box around it. And what it did is it actually took, and even the grayscale here, it took the features from this one and added it to what's coming in here. Now I can remove all those if I want to. Go into format options, I can remove the shadow, I can remove the border. So now it looks just kind of like that. But if I wanted to add those and I have like a style I like, I can always click on an image. I can click on this little format tool. It looks like a paint roller. Click on that, and now click on the new image, and all that stuff will appear as well. Here's one other cool thing, kind of a couple cool things about, let me just get rid of this border here. I like it like that. About images like this, if you want to make those links as well. So I can have this icon right here, this image right here. Click on the link image again, and now I can put in an address. We'll put in rsu19.org again. That looks pretty good. Okay. I can also, if you notice here, I click on it once, this little yellow dot here. Well, what is that? Well, I mentioned earlier how we did that shape cookie cutter. We're kind of cut down this little borders around here. This is, will address one aspect of it. So if I put my cursor over it and it changes to these little crosshairs, I can make it a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. I can adjust what I want that one piece to be. Now, not all of them have that. Some of these tools have these options, some of them don't. So depending on which one of these shapes you use to cut it, you might be able to adjust pieces of it. All right, cool. So that all looks good. We inserted some text, we inserted an image. Now let's insert a video. So I'm going to go to YouTube. Let's go back to the district here. Now, when I insert a video, it's actually going to ask me, it's already looking in YouTube. I could search right here. I could also do directly by a URL. That means that if I know the address, which I'm going to go find in a second here, and we will add the one that we have. We have some drone footage of the school we'll use. I also can go to my Google Drive. If I've recorded a session, I believe I have here, have a recording. Yep. So there's one from the other day. Here's some of the recordings that we've done so far this year. I could add that right directly into, and select this. Now, if you're recording like Screencastify or WeVideo or something else, I could add these and insert them right directly into my slideshow. So you could record yourself, save it for students. They could watch it right here, click play, and they could watch the video without even have to leave. A couple things about video. Again, if you notice up here, these have some different options than images or some of the other stuff. So if I click on video, go to format options, video playback. So does it automatically play when it starts? Probably not. You probably want to let them play. So I don't want to autoplay. Do you want to mute the audio and they have to unmute it? Again, that's your preference. Do you want to start somewhere? So let's say you had a long video, but you want to start at like minute 2. You could change this right here where you want it to start. So these all look good for my video here. So I've got a video, I've got a button. Let's change this text here. Okay, so I can change the text below it here, and we'll add that. Cool, we got a lot of stuff here. One other cool thing about images, I click on here. If I wanted to flip it over, as I mentioned, if I put the cursor on the top, I could turn it, but that won't flip it over. If I actually grab one side and drag it across, go all the way past this one and keep on going. Now you'll notice a red line will appear. Well, that red line means it's the same proportions as what was before, but just flipped over. So now I just flip that image over facing the other way. So that looks pretty good. So let's say I'm going to actually move this video to the next page. I'm over here on the left side on the thumbnails. We're on page 2. Let's get rid of this guy here and add that. I just copied and pasted that. So if this is my video page, okay, so one thing you can see here down at the bottom, let me move this up a little bit. There we go. Down at the bottom here, if you go view and show speaker notes. I'm going to move my over here. So speaker notes are down the bottom. Usually you would just look at a speaker, but you can use those as reference. So I want this one to be my video page. So my slide 2, I'm going to go view speaker notes, and we're going to call this one my video page. You'll see why in a minute. I'm going to jump back to my top one. Now, if parents will be able to just click that bottom left corner, go next, next, next. But if I wanted to make a little kind of internal menu system right in my first page, I'm going to add a text box right here. And I'm going to say my home page, which is this page right here, and my video page. And I could have different pages, like maybe one's on my resource page, and so forth. You can make different links here. I can highlight individual text in here. Let me try that again. And I can click that link. And instead of going to an address outside, I'm going to go to a slide in this presentation. So I'm going to go down, and we're on slide 2 is which one that one's going to go to. So I have slide 1 is the home page. Slide 2 is this video page. Let's apply that. And so what that means is if I had 10 slides, I could have a little index. Maybe I put it over here on the left side. And I might want to label it and say, oh, here's my links, whatever. And if a parent clicks on this, and it looks something like this, so they're looking at this, oh, okay, here's my video page. You can click on it, and it'll go directly to that page. Yes, they can get to it down below, but depending on how many pages you have, you may want them to go directly to it. So that's kind of handy that way. All right. The last thing I want to share in here is we talked about these things here that are not changeable. Now, the way we set them up, if you click on this, I can click on this to go directly to the school website or to MobiMax or to Envisions. Well, let's say I want to use those, I want to move them, or I don't want them, or I want to do something different with them. This is called the master slide. Now what that means, if I go up to view and find master, and we want to go to the top one. There's another one's down here. We're going to the top one. You'll notice here, these have these icons already there. So if I select these and move them to a different position, it's going to do that for all the slides. So let me move them to some of these different, so you can see what that looks like. And so now if I exit out in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see right here, it moved it back here, and down the next slide, it moved it right here. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to get rid of it in this case. View, master, back up here. Let's get rid of these. I don't want them in my case for some reason. I don't need these links for whatever reason. I am going to keep the one in the upper left. I'm going to exit out. And there we go. So now we have it, so they're not there. And again, I can rearrange this stuff if I want. 2 more pieces. We're going to show you how to change the background to different colors, and we'll show you how to publish it. Now, the good news is it's already been published. That means if you make a change on here, it's live. Well, what if you want to change, you want to do something, but you don't want to show people yet? So I'm going to take this slide. I'm going to, again, duplicate it. Slide, duplicate slide. And so this one is a resource page, but I'm not ready to share that with the world yet. If you right click on it, or I can just go to slide, I can skip slide. And you notice that it looks like a little eyeball, a line across it. That means that you have it, you can edit it. Still working on this page, but no one's going to see that yet except for you. So it's not going to be published publicly yet until you're ready to do so. When you're ready to, you can click on that page, go up to slide, unskip it, so just uncheck that, and now it's live. Now it will be there. Okay, so again, that's a way to really hide that. You can still work on it without having it be public yet. So to publish this as a website, again, by default, if you're in RSU 19, it's already been published. But if you want to use this, if I click share, this is to share with other people for them to work on. So for example, I could share this with another person. Let's say I have another teacher. I can share. Click their address. Now 2 people will be able to work on this live. Like let's say I have another teacher. Whoops, I'm not sure why it didn't get sent, but you would share that with one other person. There it goes, and they would be able to see it and edit as you need. If I want to make this public, I'm going to click File. Move this out of your way. File. Publish to the web. Okay, this should already be done. So I'm going to click publish here, but this and click OK. This has already been done. So this should already look like this. That's the actual link that I would give somebody. So if I copy that and put that on a web page, this page looks like this. And this is what mom and dad is going to see. So here's my web page. Here's my links. You notice if I click on next, they're not going to see the page that I hid. They're just going to go directly to the video page. So that's all I have right now. Let's say I want to change the background. So I'm going to come back to my edit mode in here. On the main page here, I'm going to click on background. I could just do a single color. Let's say I want to do a nice light yellow here. I could add that to theme, and now they're all that same color. I don't really like that. I want to make it a little bit fancier than that. So if I click on background, another choice I have, click up here, is gradient. And gradient, just same idea, just basically picks two colors going from one color to the next. So I kind of like this one. Let's do the blue here. That looks pretty cool. Now I would want to be mindful. I wouldn't want to pick something that would be hard to see. That might be a little bit hard to see. So let's just do a light gray. Same idea, but we'll do a light gray there. That's a little bit easier to read. Perfect. And you notice how it appears on all the different slides. And so once you've done something, I'm just going to refresh this page. So up in the upper left here, click refresh. There it is. If I go back to my slideshow, it's not changed quite yet. I'm going to refresh that page. It might take a minute or two. There it goes. See, it didn't take very long now. Now it's got that gray background behind it. So it'll take a second for it to update, and somebody would need to refresh that page to see the updates. But once they do, it should be there and you should be good to go. So with that, that's a real quick kind of overview of using Google Slides as a site, as a website. If you're beyond this, if you want certain things that you can't do with this site, the next stage would be Google Sites, and we'll cover that in another episode. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.